Wonderful. We should probably have a moment of silence or a moment of Yahoo for Brad Kiefer, who's running the marathon today. So Lisa and Mark are dressed with their T-shirts from the marathon. You saw him off this morning. So good. We just know that he finishes. There you go. Yes, running in the rain. Between the raindrops, yes, of course. It's a wonderful day. I'm wondering, Alec, if you'll turn down the spots just a little bit. It's a little, I could hardly see you. Oh, now I can see you a little bit. Good, okay. So last week, for those who weren't here, I talked about spiritual mind treatment and what it is and how to use it a little bit. And if you're new to this teaching and want to know more about spiritual mind treatment, the obvious place would be for you to go to class and learn how to do spiritual mind treatment in class. And failing that possibility, last Sunday's talk was brilliant. So you should go... so self-serving. I just love it when I do that. You go down and get the CD, and it will give a good overview of the positive prayer, how to do it, and that's what spiritual mind treatment is. This week I want to sort of put it into practical use. This would be a great experiment, I think, testing the power of prayer in our lives to find out if it really works. It's not so much if it really works, but when it really works. And when we see evidence of spiritual mind treatment working in our lives, or prayer working in our lives, we get to, that's sort of like priming the pump. And we get to see that, we meet ourselves where we are in consciousness, and as we progress in our awareness of the power and presence of God in our lives, we see how these little teeny tiny experiments, which I would say sometimes spiritual mind treatment feels like that, those experiments come to fruition in a way that we can understand. We're experimenting all the time. Every time we try something new, we can call it an experiment. Knowing if it doesn't work out exactly the way we wanted, we can discard it and begin another experiment. I kind of like that as the premise for every new thing that we start at this center. It's truly the basis of all life. Life is all about experimenting, and yet some of us feel the need to continue trying to make something work in our lives that really has no business being a part of our lives. And sometimes if we don't invite other people in our experiment, we would never know that what it is we're trying to do has no business in our lives. And what we want to do is encourage loving and generous people in our circle of influence who would tell us that when they love us enough to be able to tell us the truth. We often stay too long at the fair, I think, with ideas that are not productive and, quite frankly, are sometimes time wasters. And I know I'm not the only one who's ever done that. So I'd just like for you to nod your head maybe if you've had that experience. Oh, good, one or two. So let's look at the nature of creative thought from a whole different angle today. Or maybe not a whole different angle, but maybe a little different angle. Each prayer, every treatment we give is, in a certain sense, an experiment with principle. A principle which will never fail to operate. It is. It's an experiment in knowing that God is all there is. Last week, as I was sharing about life before and after using spiritual mind treatment, I tend to talk in the first person because years ago when I was studying for the ministry, I took a workshop with a teacher who said that people identify with the first person narrative more than they do with a lecture or a preachy kind of person who says you all the time, as though you have something to fix and I don't, kind of thing. Anyway, when I said last week that I had a job that I loved and I was being paid more money than I could imagine, that I was in a right and perfect relationship, that health was optimum, it was largely intended as an example of what could be. I am not in a relationship with anyone. I don't want to wash anyone's socks. So I guess you should know that right now. So several people came through the line and said, "Isn't it wonderful that you finally found someone at this age in your life?" And what is she talking about? They take me literally from the pulpit. I didn't mean that. My life is idyllic, though. It is idyllic in direct proportion to what I'm willing to allow in my life. Sherry Deeds, on the other hand, did demonstrate the right and perfect job with more money than she could ever imagine. So we can applaud her. Yay! So really, all of life is an experiment. The principle being always present and always powerful, both omnipresent and omnipotent, will always respond to us at the level of our conviction. Always respond to us at the level of our conviction. In the area of relationships, it's varied and unique to each one of us, right? Health issues are different for different people, and we all creatively express in our work in our own unique and wonderful way. Money, however, is a way in which we can all experiment and see the results sooner than later. We bandy about the affirmation that God is the source and substance of my supply. I do it often, and I hear others speak that truth as well. Now, I really believe this for myself. I really know it to be my truth, because prosperity is not an area in which I ever have experienced anything harsh or declining in any way. My life, money is not an issue for me. And yet, some of us withhold in this arena because we don't believe in the affirmation totally and completely, that God is the source and substance of our supply. We can say it, but we don't really believe it. So it's really about our growth in consciousness. In a few weeks, we're going to embark upon a 7-week program called Adventures in Faith. And for 7 weeks, each Sunday will be color coordinated. You'll know in advance what the colors are, and theme-based. And it's amazing to see the congregation dressed in a same color. Now, some of you, if you don't have purple anything, that's all right. You don't necessarily have to wear purple. If you don't have anything orange, you don't have to go out and buy something orange just for that Sunday. But at the end of the 7 weeks, you will be asked to break bread with us for an evening of celebration and camaraderie, where you'll be asked to engage in an experiment in giving. Now, the level of our conviction will be tested in a big way. And what I expect will happen for most of us as the 7 weeks progress is that we will begin a shift, an exponential shift. It may start today, because now I've primed the pump, I've planted a seed thought. The lives of each and every one of us in this center will change in grand and glorious ways. Take my word for it. It's a money-back guarantee. Because we have placed an intention into the universe and set an intention to experience life from a totally different perspective. And by becoming conscious in one area of our lives, we become conscious in all areas of our lives. One thing changes, it's like a domino effect, and everything changes. And by a God will, of necessity, respond in the manner and in the form of our conviction. And this is the most important part of what it is that I want to say today. What is my conviction? And the intention, what is my intention? We begin to articulate on that very first Sunday. And how appropriate is it that we begin this Adventures in Faith on Easter Sunday? The resurrection. We're resurrecting a new idea here. Your lives will change in definite and specific ways, and you'll have a chance on those 7 Sundays to share that in public if you so desire. In the meantime, though, starting today, we begin to acquaint our consciousness, if you will, with the reality of what we say. What are the words that are coming out of my mouth? What are the thoughts that I'm thinking? That our word has power. And this is a really significant part of this teaching, is for us to realize that every time I open my mouth, it's a prayer of sorts. As Paul said, we pray without ceasing. And that whether it's for ourselves or whether it's for someone else. And today we begin to witness the shifts in our lives and the lives of each and every person here. The experiment then lies basically in what degree do we want to change our lives, and what do we want to demonstrate in our lives. And the biggest thing, I think, is who do we want along on the ride with us? Who do we want to join us in this endeavor? As Ernest Holmes said, the power is ready and willing. The law always functions. The presence is perfect and within us, and life is complete and whole. We get to work with these ideas and not simply give lip service to this teaching. This is the beauty of this. And we work with those ideas to a proper conclusion or acceptance, and we have something so incredible at the end. We've accomplished something. We see the effect of our desired, whatever it is we put into the law, what we desire. Creative prayer or spiritual mind treatment is intelligent knowing, coupled with emotional conviction. That's the whole basis of spiritual mind treatment. So how convinced are we that God is the source and substance of our supply? Do we still believe it's our job, our Social Security, our pension, our retirement income, alimony, the lottery? I like the idea of the lottery a little bit, don't y'all? Did anyone win last night? Anyone here? Oh, too bad. Too bad. But these are simply the vehicles through which God demonstrates itself in our lives. Our jobs, yes, we do receive income from. We do receive income from, some of us, from Social Security. We do receive pensions. We do win an occasional scratcher. And we do get alimony, but that's not the source and substance of our supply. Do we really want to step out in faith today and test the waters of this philosophy in a way that is brave and bold and beautiful? Then today would be the day for each one of us to double our giving consciousness. I'm holding in my hand, right here, my tithe check for today. It's twice the amount I would have given today. Twice the amount. Because I received my Social Security check this week. And I'm willing to step out in faith and know that by doing this today, my word goes forth and returns to me multiplied tenfold. I have the conviction that this is going to be returned to me multiplied tenfold. Why would I do this, you might ask? Because I can. And that's the plain and simple answer. I can do this because I can. Cliff Christopher, a former minister who wrote this wonderful book, Not Your Parents' Offering Plate, was the presenter the last day of our leadership conference. And he told a fascinating story. There was an elderly woman in his congregation who had given over $1 million to the local hospital. And he was very saddened when he heard this, because he said his church at the time was not doing well financially, and they could have used the money. And so he went to visit the woman to find out why she had given that generous gift to the hospital instead of to the church. And her answer was very simple: because you didn't ask me. You didn't ask me. Today, I'm asking you to up your giving consciousness. I'm asking you to give more love and affection than you ever have in your lives. I'm asking you to see what can be brought to the relationships that you already have that are a part of your life now, that instead of seeking to get something from them, you bring something to them. Give more love and attention, maybe this week, to the body temple that has served you well over your lifetime. Appreciate your limbs, your organs, and give great thanks for the hair on your legs instead of being annoyed by them. This is a way in which we can really up the giving consciousness. We can up the giving consciousness by bringing more to our employment than we've ever brought before. Double the joy and the vibrant energy that we bring to our workplace tomorrow and the day after, knowing that what you give in the workplace comes back to you multiplied. The results of this generosity of spirit will enrich your lives in ways too profound, to be expressed in mere words. The giving consciousness doesn't extend just to money. It extends to time and talent. Those of us here today who've already begun to toy with these ideas, and I know some of you have because I've witnessed the shift, have lifted ourselves to consistent levels of belief and conviction where we see the demonstration of God in action in our lives on a daily basis. You know, when I bring joy to my work, what do I get back? Joy. When I bring love to my relationships, I get back love. It's a law of giving and receiving. So it isn't really just about money today. It's about how can we engage with one another at a very generous level where we get to know each one of the people here in this congregation up close and personal. We extend ourselves. We extend who we are in a way that draws people to us and draws people to the center. The rest of us, maybe who haven't yet reached the awareness of what that giving consciousness can do for us by doing through us, have to be re-educated to discover within ourselves the knowledge that this is God's world that we are living in, that it is good, that we are a part of it, and that the answer to every prayer is in the prayer itself, that every thought we have is creative. And what are we definite about? This morning I said just in general, boy, oh boy, the rain is really something, isn't it? And Susan said to me, I love the rain. I mean, I love the rain. I do too. I do too. I know more today than I've ever known before that there is more than enough to go around, that I am enough, and that I can afford to be generous with my money, with love and affection, with appreciation, appreciating the people that are in our lives. You know, if I happen to notice that that hat that Cece's wearing is just so stunning, and I don't say that to her, I'm the one who's lost out. Because the giving of the compliment is returned by her joy at receiving the compliment. If I happen to notice that someone is especially doing wonderful work with our children and I don't say anything about that, then I'm the one who loses out on that. I remember, I might have already shared this, but on his deathbed, my dad said to me, he said the only regret that he had was that he didn't often compliment people when he thought of it. That was his only regret at the end of his life, because he could have brought joy to so many people's lives by doing that. So what are we definite about? What are we definite about? The affirmation that we say each Sunday when we put our money in the offering baskets becomes a mantra of sorts. And I believe unequivocally that what I joyously give to the center comes back to me multiplied abundantly. What I joyously give out in my world in the form of love and appreciation and compliments and just general joyful expression comes back to me multiplied abundantly. As some of you know, last Sunday was my birthday. This I got for my birthday. Thank you very much. And my worthiness quotient got tested last Sunday. It really got tested because of the generosity of this congregation. I've never experienced anything quite like that before. It was quite amazing. The birthday continued all week long. I'm so blessed by being here in so many different ways. And I want all of us to feel that feeling of love and acceptance that I feel here. I'm so grateful to everyone who contributed to my good. I especially am grateful to Connie Sullivan and Steve. Steve didn't pick it out probably, but Connie did. Oh, you did it together. There you go. There you go. A pure Renaissance man, right, Steve? Yes. So, I mean, God really is the source and substance of my supply and demonstrated itself in a way that I could understand and accept last Sunday. I had to look at my deservability quotient. And sometimes, as I've often said on Sunday morning, the difficulty is not in the giving, it's in the receiving sometimes. You know, oh no, you shouldn't have. Someone wants to buy lunch for us. Oh, no, don't do that. Wait, just say yes and say thank you very much. I appreciate this. And appreciation is something that we need to learn to do a little bit more, because appreciation is a present moment experience. I'm grateful for everything that came before, but appreciation is right in the now moment. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you very much for your generosity. Thank you so much for being a part of my life and allowing me to grow in consciousness by upping my deservability quotient. Are you ready for the great experiment? Are you ready? I know I am. I mean, that was sort of a wishy-washy yes. I mean, are you really ready for an experiment? Yes, okay. All right, so that I know I am, and I want all of you on my ride with me. So whatever it takes, whatever we have to do, knowing that as we prosper, the community prospers and the world prospers, knowing that with God, all things are possible. Will you join me in consciousness, please? Let's just take a really deep breath. And know that we're breathing in that pure essence of spirit. Oh, God. Spirit. Lover of all life. That pure